Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of UPRE, continuing the Batman franchise. And we're getting to the nitty gritty of the first era of the Batman movies being over, ending with Batman and Robin. Let's take a look at it right now.
All right, everyone, chill.
I'm poison. Poison ivy.
And the only man who can stop them
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
can't do it alone.
And you are?
BatGirl.
That's not awfully PC. What about Bat Person?
Found the Batcave.
She knows who we are.
Guess we just have to kill her.
We're going to need a bigger cave.
Batman and Robin.
Speaking of can't do it alone, I can't give this movie the proper justice it deserves alone. So let's go ahead and bring on the fellow host for this evening, ladies and gentlemen, E Boogie.
Hello, welcome back, me.
No, hi, Chris. How are you doing? Executive consultant.
Oh, hey, Chris, how you doing?
Exactly. Looking excellent, I might say. Yes, I am. Thank you. Now, we're over here talking about Batman Robin. This is your first Batman franchise movie you've actually showed up for, and I'm excited to hear your take.
I've been represented, so let's.
You've been represented. That's true. I'm not saying you haven't been represented, but you have not been on for Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever. But one way to start Batman and Robin. What can you say about this movie? Right? What can you say?
I had to show up at least for this one because this was the most impactful one for me growing up because I went to theaters to see this. So it was really exciting for me. 97 was a year of really big blockbusters. We had The Fifth Element, Jurassic Park, Devil's Advocate, which we've reviewed on here. But there's just been a lot of movies in that year that got released. So this movie had a lot of competition. And so that's, I think that needs to be said. It was of its time.
Men in Black also came out around this time.
Men in Black. See, and there's a lot of movies that practical effects played their parts in. But there were also some advancements in 3D animation and working that onto the silver screen. So that I feel like it held its own, but obviously, in hindsight and as an adult, this movie was made for kids and families. This was the least dark Batman films of the entire franchise. Everything, the lighting in itself, other than the silly, wacky heroes skateboarding and being thwapped and it having a boing sound effect. The lighting of this film was very Disney Channel. It was very blue cast and glowy, and there was no point at which fear struck my heart. It was just very, very campy. It felt very Disney Channel, which is crazy because it had a really big budget.
Mm-hmm. It was the largest budgeted Batman movie to that date. Yes.
And I can see in some of the sets and costumes where it was spent, but it might have been better spent on, I don't know, more intense fighting choreo. Sound editing. Some of those sound editing was a little janky. Felt a little janky on here. The writing was a little janky too. I didn't ever feel like Gotham was truly in danger. It gets cold there regardless. It's kind of a mix between Chicago and New York, so I feel like they expect it to get cold. But yeah, I don't know. It just was not spooky dooky. It was very family oriented. And I know that and remember that from seeing it in theaters because my favorite Aunt Diane, took myself and my brother to go see it. And so we were a little nervous because she Yeah, she was very super religious and a super, I call them Bible toting, Bible quoting Christians, and they're not really into all the fantasy hero superhero stuff.
Mhm.
But she took us, and when we left out, she was like, "I thought that was fabulous." She really enjoyed it. God rest her soul. But yeah, that memory really rung true watching this back as an adult. It was very wholesome, despite the nipples, which I do want to come back to. But what
I
are
know
your
you
initial
do.
thoughts?
I can't. You've been talking about that ever since we said we're going to dive into the Batman franchise. You just want to keep talking about these damn nipples. All right.
They're an important factor.
Let's cut to the chase. This was a very campy movie. They switched directors at the third movie, and Joel Schumacher was going into more of his direction with the third movie. He completely went his direction on the fourth one because he had full carte blanche. He kind of took over on the third one. This, he already had his feet in the water, ready, wet, to see what he wanted to do. In my opinion, George Clooney is the worst of the Batmans, of the first ones. By far. Going back, I don't think he was as bad as for the Bruce Wayne character. He somewhat played that role very well.
Yeah.
Better than Val Kilmer, in my opinion. Val Kilmer is very monotone in his delivery as Bruce Wayne. I thought he was a good Batman as far as it looks, but monotone as far as Bruce Wayne. This one, he played a very good Bruce Wayne, but I didn't see a difference between his character as Bruce Wayne or Batman. Right? Val Kilmer, I didn't see a difference between his character as Batman or Bruce Wayne, but he played a better Batman. This one, I saw just Bruce Wayne. That's all I saw.
Yeah.
And it was just like ridiculous. They clearly wanted to sell toys, and they had it because they did very well with Mr. Freeze being just like the pun guy that you just need him. And they talk about his puns even today. You still talk about the chill, freeze, ice. Just there's this one video where they go through the entire thing, and that was like all his lines had to have some reference of cold in them. That's how it was. I had to say I was a little disappointed. I know it's not the end of the world, but how is your top villain of this movie get caught in the middle of the movie? Like Poison Ivy had to come save him, and not for nothing. In my opinion, I remember seeing when I saw this movie in high school, just beginning high school. I thought that Poison Ivy actually was the star of this movie. To me, I thought she stole the show, and I still think that she's the one that stole the show, even though I didn't like the fact the way she got beat, I thought was kind of stupid. Like you threw Robin in the drink, you have Batman up in the air, choking, trying to do his life, but this damn new person just comes out of nowhere, and you can't like do one more thing to get rid of her. Nobody knows who she is, so that was really bothering me. About it.
I want to touch on that because one thing that stood out to me, and just in hearing some of your comments, this Batman was very marketed to little girls to me, because Uma Thurman and Alicia Silverstone, really, this kind of was their movie. And I say that even though Alicia Silverstone was not in it that much, but we did follow her in her kind of figuring out what's going on, and just watching her kind of be a badass. And Robin was, obviously infatuated with both of them at some different points of the film.
You can't blame him for being infatuated with Poison Ivy. She looked very good in her Poison Ivy get-up.
Her makeup, hair, and costumes in this entire film were iconic. If you go to any Comic-Con, Awesome Con, whatever convention you go to that is for animated characters, cosplay, whatever, you're going to see Poison Ivy cosplayed. Right. It's most likely going to be inspired by this film.
She was definitely the inspiration of how Poison Ivy was portrayed going forward.
Now, the thing I wanted to touch on that you were just mentioning was there was this build up to this meeting of Batgirl and Poison Ivy, and then there was a little moment where it was you set women back using your feminine wiles, and I'm just thinking to myself, what type of re-education was this? And yes, the wave of feminism that we were in when this came out was very like sisters are doing it for themselves. But to kind of hone in on that and kind of act as if overtly sexual women are inherently like bad or evil, or that is just like an evil tactic, just felt very like, as an adult, it just felt very like, wow, like that was so pointed. Like I was a little insulted. I mean, I don't know. Even as a little girl, I do remember thinking, okay, come on, like I want to be sexy and be able to have any command a room, but I also want to kick butt. Like, why do I have to choose now? I'm 8 years old. why do I have to have that decision presented to me so early? So yeah, I thought that was so like it was underhanded.
Speaking of decision, see the superior wants to know which is more iconic, the Catwoman costume or the Poison Ivy one.
I wonder what you think.
Me, I'm going to say Poison.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Catwoman. The reason I'm going to say Catwoman is if you look at the Poison Ivy costume, it was green, but I still saw the Catwoman in their outfit. I really did.
Yeah.
So I mean, even though Poison Ivy had a lot more flash to it because it had the hair and the makeup and all that other stuff, it still, in my opinion, was a little bit inspired from Catwoman, just toned down a little bit because it was more kid friendly, I'll say. But I'll go with the Catwoman outfit. But I still stand by my opinion. The Poison Ivy actually stole this movie from me. I just thought she was the best character by far. I remember talking about some other movies where I said this person did a good job. Batman Returns, I said Christopher Walken did a great job. Michelle Pfeiffer did a great job. Michael Keaton, of course, did a great job. Like everybody, all the components put together. I thought Uma Thurman did a fantastic job as Poison Ivy. I could not take my eyes off her, not just because she looks good. I just thought she did a very good job. George Clooney, I felt like was just there. Chris O'Donnell just whined and had to get saved the entire every single. You know what? The same thing happened to Batman Forever. Yeah, he did that spot where he saved Batman, but when he finally got the costume, I even mentioned this last week, and I'll go into what we're talking about today. When he finally got the costume, he's like, "How about both? I'm gonna take the boat." Boat got blown up. Then they're about to jump his ass. Batman had to go down there and save him. Then they get on the island. He's just separated. Then Two-Face gets the better of him, so he got to get put in the tube, about to fall in his death. And then in this movie, he has to get saved about 14,000 times all the time. Yeah. Also, it's like, what are you doing, bro? Are you really his helper there or what? Because it seems like he's always the one. And The Office also referenced that Joel Schumacher was kind of a lazy director anyway, even though he did not write the movie. But I felt like I saw a lot of the same scenes to a certain extent, just a bit changed. From Batman Forever, the party scene, the crash into. I mean, how many people when Batman has to, girl has to show up? Do they have to crash through the roof like that with the glass? I don't understand. Like, it was a little bit ridiculous. And then of course everybody falls. I know I saw this spot a couple months ago when Spider-Man came out, where they talked about how Spider-Man always has to stay somebody falling. And it gets kind of redundant. Well, so does Batman. He seems to always be saving somebody falling, and I'm like, okay, so they can show that thing where he does the grappling hook. So that gets kind of annoying. But I mean, we'll talk more about it on the final thoughts. But if you actually take Poison Ivy out of this movie for me, it's going to be a really tough call for me. It really would. Alfred, having the McGregor syndrome, that was kind of forced to me. Just to give Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze some kind of what do you call that word I'm looking for? I don't know if it's relatable or just a redeeming quality, because he was actually supposed to die in this movie.
I was going to say raison d'être.
I'm not even sure what that means. I haven't heard that before.
It's like your purpose.
Well, his purpose was to be funny. That was his purpose.
Well, okay. 2 things I'll say about Mr. Freeze. Number 1, a couple of his one-liners did hit.
Can you name 2?
But obviously, let me break the ice. Clearly. And then there was one point where he was like about to leave from a scene after, putting it in complete disarray and getting Robin all the way together. He got in his car and he's like, "Cool party." That's made me laugh so hard. I had to go find a YouTube with of all of Arnold Schwarzenegger's best one-liners. And I was so impressed. And I said, you know what? We need to do more Arnold Schwarzenegger movies on this show because he's just a beacon of joy. I love watching him. He's really awesome. His makeup, when they did the close up and he's rewatching his bridal video, the makeup was so like it wasn't a mask. It was very fine detailed makeup, and there was like almost like a what's the word? Like a pointillism. Is that what it's called? Whatever. When there's like multiple dots that create like a full spectrum of color, but like so deeply detailed that you have to close in to see. His makeup was fabulous in this, and they obviously blew a budget on his suit. Now, for me, yes, I loved all of Uma Thurman's looks. They are iconic. I'm gonna have to go with Catwoman's suit as well, being the most iconic of these because one, Uma Thurman wore like 5 different outfits in this movie, all iconic, but you know nothing's as iconic as that vinyl that stitched together with the white stitches, kind of raw, edgy. And sexy bald-headed suit. Like if you can make a bald-headed suit look hot, I don't know. Nothing much can compare to that. Now, I do want to talk a little bit, since we're ending the first kind of era of Batman movies, I want to talk a little bit about these suits. Now, I pulled up a couple from
here we go.
The ones you watched. Why are you? Okay, now, so this is from one, right? The first one, very first one, Batman.
5'11", Michael Keaton.
Iconic. We got the texture is right. It's like a nice matte, rubbery, whatever. The belt, utility belt is gold. The emblem has the gold in it. That's the
my
yellow.
favorite suit.
That's nice. It's very, very reminiscent of the cartoon. And I'm not mad at the mask and ears. I don't know. It looks good to me. Yeah. They're like not too tall, not too short, very like perfect, very like Wolverine. Okay. So is this the second one then? This is Batman Returns, right?
That's Batman Returns. Yeah.
This is where they start to lose me because look at these abs and pecs. It's not this. When was
so
it
go back to the
this?
first one for me. Go back to the first one for me because I never paid attention to this before.
You see how finely detailed the muscles are crafted?
You sounded like C right now. You sounded like C. Okay, go back to the second one.
I'm just saying. And then we get this mod, like, Lego Build-A-Batman thing going on. I don't love this. It's not good. Okay, so then we move on to 3. And behold, nipples.
Oh, here we go.
Who knew? So not only are the abs like really, really finely crafted and molded here, which I really love that, but that matte rubber suit has a nice, cool sheen to it. And then where it meets the mask, it's just perfect. This one to me really stands out. It's cool. And it kind of marries the cartoon with live action, which I love. It just a little bit better to me than this one. Like this one's the matte black. It looks cool, but something about this is just standing out to me. And I mean, so I think this is from Batman Forever, right?
This is the end of Batman Forever, yes.
Yeah. This is the end. So I might not have gotten the one before, but I will say from this era, this suit looks cool on Batman. I really love Robin's suit. I love that it has the red, green, and gold. That to me is like, yes, like I want all of that. I want all of those look. I want to see a real version of what I see in the comics. Like that's cool to me. Like, yes, visualize this, but make it still look edgy. Like this really does that for me. Although it's kind of like a spider web thing happening on Batman's abs, which is kind of weird. I don't know. But we got that wide Batman insignia symbol on his chest, and I think that's really cool. And I mean, I almost like it more than this.
The nipple knight. Okay. Did you get Batman and Robin's Batman suit?
I did. Number one, Robin totally effing upgraded his whole bag. Like, I was so impressed with this outfit. What do you mean? This is so chic.
I like this one better.
It's cool, but it's nowhere near as like edgy as this black and red. Like, this is taking us somewhere, you know, like
To the movies?
it's giving Tom Ford. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's giving very American fashion house does Italian. Like, I love this. This is sexy. It's got the little arm spikes. It's got that huge symbol over the chest, comes out to the shoulders, enhancing all of that. I think this is chic. He needs to stick with this. And then I got the final suit from wait, is this okay? So this is not the final. This is George Clooney's I guess one of his, I think he had more than two, but I can't remember the very first one. I think this one stood out to me the most. Like, this is the one that he wore to the, what is it, the auction, the jewelry auction. Matte black, perfect, matched his goth card, which you can't max out, the black goth card.
Yeah, that's done.
And it's chic. It looks like he can move around in it. It's not wearing him. He's wearing the suit, which, I mean, is different than like this. This suit is wearing him. He looks like a statue. He looks great, but he looks like he can't move around in that thing.
He could not.
Yeah. This was flexible. You know, his armpits could breathe, whatnot, whatever. And then we had finally the last suits, which are the all-weather bat suits. I love this design concept.
I don't.
Why?
I feel like it's too loud.
I mean,
Too much going on.
It's giving Dark Side Captain America, like, you know, post Civil War.
Okay.
But I'm not mad at that. Because they first of all, they needed something like thermal, you know, something all weather that probably has a heating system on the inside, something to keep them warm. Mr. Freeze's gun don't care about rubber, so you got to have something that can withstand. And the silver just looks cool. I mean, come on.
Silver's my favorite color. I just feel like it's doing too much for what he's trying to do.
Maybe it's the thighs. And then what's on the arms? These like weird star things? I don't know. But I like the mask with this one. This one's really cool. And Batgirl's outfit, she gets the chop because why do you have on high heel boots?
The chop.
She gets the chop. That's all I got for suits, my guy.
That was interesting. Let's see what I got.
I know who I am. I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
You want answers!
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth!
Why so serious?
Bond. James Bond.
Show me the money!
Here's my first quote I got for you, ladies and gentlemen. Your emotions make you weak. That's why this day is mine. We all know I like quotes that I can use in my everyday personal life, and this is definitely one of them. At the beginning, when Robin did exactly what I say he does, goes out and gets himself almost killed to the point Batman has to save him, and he walked through the ice, so to speak, than Mr. Freeze. So I gotta give him respect. If revenge is a dish best served cold, I was talking about Mr. Freeze. Yet both of my quotes are from him. If revenge is a dish best served cold, then put on your Sunday finest. It's time to feast. I'm not using this quote. I just thought it was funny. So I had to go ahead and do it. I give you the cool party one. I chuckled. I was like, okay. But this was really good. Put on your Sunday's finest because he always finds a way. Speaking of which, can I tell you about the ridiculous plot that Poison Ivy had? Like, shout out to this this YouTube channel called Honest Trailers, which do these honest trailers of movies. And I remember seeing Batman Forever. They said one villain wants to freeze the world, the other villain wants to cover the world in plants. They team up. And it sounded so ridiculous. Because realistically speaking, you know, there's no reason in hell these two would want to team up when they want totally opposite things. It's really, really funny. But they went on, they did it. It was, and I'm not even going to discuss Bane.
I was waiting.
Babe, or how the ridiculous way they finally beat him at the end with the fake ass kicks that just happened to release the. I watched them kicks over again that released the tube out his back. I'm like, has anybody ever gotten like their belt or shoestring or something stuck in the door? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how easily Bane was defeated. But I don't want to talk about that. Shout out to my friend Teddy. He was on the Instagram when I usually on my Instagram. I post what movie I'm watching going into the week. I was watching Batman Forever, and he said, "This is the greatest line in cinema history." I completely disagree. I thought it was delivered well, but I completely disagree. But it was funny he said it. As I told Lady Freeze when I pulled her plug, This is a one-woman show. He loved this line. Like I said, I don't see it being the greatest of all time, but it was a good line. So, I mean, but right before she lost to this amateur, by the way. I'm not over that. She should not have gotten beaten by an amateur. And then Batman and Robin see her, and they're like, "Oh, you found the Batcave. Oh, you got a bat suit. All right, let's go." Like anybody can sign up now.
They trust Alfred. They trust Alfred, and she already had gotten vetted by Robin.
Why? Because she
like the night before. Well, she can handle intense situation. And to circle back to what you were saying about Robin always needing to be saved, she ends up saving Robin at some point. He's like, "I got you. Oops, my grappling hook that I haven't replaced the thing for in 3 weeks, like Batman told me to, has failed." So then she hooks it up.
No, I got you. Proving my point. Maybe it should be Batman and Batgirl and leave Robin to go be Nightwing, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to come back and talk about our final thoughts, final review on Thursday as well as next Tuesday. Stay with us. You're watching Unpopular Review.
Who are you people? You're in the middle of a war that's been raging for the better part of 1,000 years. A blood feud between vampires and lycans. Werewolves.
Underworld. He's here. Who? The Batman. God, that must be destroyed. Gotham isn't beyond saving. Just hold up! Guy dresses up like a bat. Clearly has issues.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure that you join us on Thursday as we review Underworld, the last of this month's picks, See the Superiors pick, where we talk about A Woman Scored. And, of course, next Tuesday, we're actually going to be reviewing Batman Begins, at the beginning of a new era for the Batman. The movie came out 8 years later, and you might be asking, why did the movie take 8 years to come out? Because this movie bombed so freaking much at the box office, they scrapped the next movie they had planned and said, we want to be done with Batman for a while. And here we are, Batman and Robin. Go ahead with your final thoughts and thumbs up, thumbs down.
Final thoughts. Credits due obviously to set and costume design, makeup and hair. Writers. I know it's hard when it's an action movie. I know you have to come up with original puns, never been done before, totally different, never the same. Gorgeous, iconic, all of that type of thing. And it's hard, especially with something like a franchise like this. That being said, bad job, guys. Sorry. Terrible. It's gonna be a thumbs down for me.
Thumbs down from E Boogie. I actually did enjoy this movie from time to time. Like I said, I thought Poison Ivy did a fantastic job in this movie, to the point where I actually don't mind watching it again. However, still, I have to compare to Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman Returns barely made the grade for me. And Batman Robin really, really was not a good movie. Matter of fact, it's the worst live-action Batman movie of all time. I actually enjoyed Batman 1966 better than this movie. So therefore, it gets a thumbs down for me. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us here at UPRE. Please make sure you join us on Thursday, 9 o'clock p.m. for Underworld. And next week, we continue the Batman franchise going into the release of the Batman, which I believe comes out next Friday. So we have some stuff to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. For E Boogie, I'm the exec consultant. We will see you right here next time, UPRE. Have a good night.